So, like what March was trying to say, from Chennai, but out to the world is what this panel is about, right? Let me introduce myself first. My name is Jainaressh. I've been working in the games industry for about a decade now under different circumstances. Now currently I am with HP India, right? And I've been doing their games and AR, VR, servers, whatever they want to call it today. But I've been actively participating in this particular circle. In fact, some of my students are here, so that's why I'm here. Now, I would like the panelists to introduce yourself, starting with Highbrow.
Hi everyone, I'm Prashanth. I'm the creative director and co-founder of Highbrow Interactive. So Highbrow is, they primarily make heavy vehicle simulators. So we've released a lot of train simulators. You must have heard of Indian Train Simulator, Euro Train Simulator. So those are all our games. And I'm the lead designer on all these games. Currently I'm working on a strategy title for the global market. Yeah, so that's me. Looking forward to the session.
Hi, I'm Mohan Das, co-founder of Chennai Games. So we used to work on racing game. Our one of successful game is Mr. Racer. So it crossed more than 10 million downloads. So now currently we are working on the other new title, so which is supposed to be a Web3 version of Mr. Racer, that is Radix. It's a completely racing metaverse game. So which means there will be a lot of NFT cars and of course virtual lands, buildings, stuff like that. So it's kind of a more advanced kind of style, and kind of you can imagine of Asphalt, which is playing in metaverse. So that's the project that we are working on. So this is all about me. So looking forward for the session. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mario Royston, co-founder of Weloadin Studios. So initially we started the studio in 2015 as indie game developers. It was a 2-man studio. And right now, like we have 2 hit games of hyper casual games, Rubber Band Cutting and Desert DIY. And we have expanded our studio right now. It's and we are in Chennai, Nadayar we are based out of. And overly, like we have like over 100 million downloads with our games. And we are just the developers. Like we publish our games with publishers. Our recent publishers are Crazy Labs. So this is what we do. And yeah, you can get.
Yeah, hi. So I'm Deepak, co-founder and CEO of Creative Monkey Games. So we have developed and published 50 plus games so far, and cricket is our major portfolio. So we are the developers of World Cricket Battle, and very recently we launched a game called Cricket Gangsta, which is available in Play Store and App Store, and I think we are in top 10 right now in India.
Congrats.
Yeah. Thank you.
Top 10 in India right now, right?
Nice, Deepak. So I'm the CTO of Hammerplay Studios. We've been into servicing in the last 8 years, and also we've been working on our own IPs in the last 4 years. We have around say 20 IPs, and we've been heavily working with the HTML5 platforms. They are emerging ones like Winzo, GameZop, MX Player, Geo Games, etc. So we are mainly concentrated on mobile games and H5 games at this point.
Thanks, Josh. Hi, my name is Rajesh Balaji. I'm the CEO and founder of Pixcell Play. Basically, we have 2 verticals. One is we are working on a casual game. We recently launched a game called Route 66 Coin Rush, and we are testing that in the Western market, and the KPIs are actually building up. And also we have other vertical which is related to the hybrid casuals, where we are working on a word-based games and a couple of puzzle games. We also recently launched a dress-up games in the market. So we are kind of a company aiming to create a next big IP in the market, and that's how we are working on. Thank you.
Thank you. So since we stopped with Rajesh, and I just want to bring that spotlight back to Talking Tom if possible, or that particular space, right? Because we're going to be talking more, everyone is going to be talking more about how do we take it from here out to the globe, right? So I think it's a great topic to start there. So if you can share us some spotlight of what you did there, I think it'll be easier.
Yeah, with the outfit, my role was as more as a a director of product. I was helping them to come up with the next bigger IPs. I was part of Talking Tom Friends and Hero Dash, the runner game, and also was participating on the Angela project for them. Yeah.
Okay, so where did these ideas come from? Because I think even in the past panel, people were asking about where do you get great ideas? So when you said Angela, right, it was not just Tom and Jerry, right? It was Tom and Angela. Like, how did you go there?
That's, I think, $1 million question. See, even I think in the last session, right, like we are talking about indie or big corporate and all those things. I think those problems are in much more in the outer shell of the layer. But why we are or what we are doing and why we are doing that is somewhere deep down, most of us feel like we are creators, and we are able to visualize and we are able to bring that into life, and then that has been like experienced by someone else, right? That's the underneath factor what we carry. Basically, we call it as a creator DNA.
Creator DNA.
Yeah. So everyone is dreaming about it. I think everyone here is dreaming about some game which they want to produce, which we don't know, like which will take an opportunity into. I think that's a similar situation with every single company out in the market.
Yeah, your thoughts about ideas.
So yeah, I mean, ideas can literally come
because
from,
you said you're from the service background, right?
Exactly.
So what happens with your concept? Like, how do you go meet people, get ideas to them, or get their ideas realized?
Yeah, I mean, the one difference that you will usually find with working with servicing models, I think Rajesh also knows about this a lot. So you tend to learn the disciplines of what these guys are already doing, right? So you get to have hands-on experience with what AAA game studios and their thought processes and their pipelines, how they work, right? Rather than you trying to figure out how to go about it, and you sort of like have that sort of expertise being handed over to you. I know it's a double-edged sword. By the end of the day, you'll also be working on someone's ideas, but at least you right now know like what it takes to bring your ideas across in the same manner of any AAA games out there, right? So yeah, that's the basic thought process.
So you said you're focused on cricket, right? Because I'm just refining on the go, by the way. Okay. Ideas to saying, okay, you've already understood it is cricket, you're going to do cricket, you made cricket. Why did you do it?
Okay, great question. See, the thing is, probably I will try to answer both of your questions because both are interconnected here. So I'm a person who take more things from my life. So I remember like I play street cricket in my childhood days, right? And whatever I did while I was playing in my school days, I used to get scoldings from my parents saying that, I mean, in Tamil, they will say that like, "Iduva unak soru poda podhu appadina."
Adu ella veetla
So because nobody, I mean, if you want to make money out of cricket, then obviously you have to be one of the players in Indian cricket team or in IPL, or you have to do something about cricket, right? So even I never imagined like I will start a company and I will do cricket and cricket is going to give me money, right? So that's something like, so that is the starting point where whatever you inspire, whatever you like, so somewhere it will be in your mind, right? And on top of that, when you are keen about doing something related to it, especially when you're doing when you're wearing an entrepreneur hat, so it really triggers you like, okay, come on, try to mix up your passion with business.
With business.
Exactly. So that's where it all happened. And in Creative Monkey, even the name I was very keen. Why Creative Monkey?
Yeah, it's a strange name actually.
Exactly. So, so the thought is that the first human is a creative monkey, right? So if he has been doing the same thing, then maybe the transition wouldn't have happened. So that's the thought process. So whatever we do, our core value is that do it creatively. Let it be the same thing, but how you see it. So that's all. So that's all it started.
That's how it started. Yeah. Right. Now coming to you, right? So we have idea to passion, and then suddenly you have a game like Desert Divide.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
I can see why cricket and what that passion turned into, business, but I never saw that coming, where you have cupcakes and a game making for cupcakes.
Yeah. Even like at the initial stages when I started the studio, like we were focused on premium games, like indie games. At that moment, I always thought like we should never make food games, and I end up making food games. It's all. The thing is, like one thing I understood when I explored the hyper casual market is the hyper casual connects with the mass audience, where just like how what Deepak said, நம்ம என்ன பண்றோமோ like whatever we are doing, like if we experience that as a game, or whatever we wish to do, if it made into a game, people might show interest in that game. So that one key thing that we got a clarity on when we tried hyper casual. So from that moment, like we decided, okay, whatever game it is, it can be hyper casual, it can be a premium games. So always like stay true to what the audience want and get adapted to that situation. So that's what I follow. So this is how I read it.
Yeah, but then you had rubber band.
Yeah, rubber band is actually it's a trend that's very popular in US. Usually hyper casual, we test our games in the US market first. So what we'll do is like we'll see the TikTok trends or the Instagram trends, what's famous, or like just like that. Like when we were checking out all these things, our Instagram feeds, our YouTube feeds will automatically filled with the things that we search for. So at that point, like we found out this cutting the rubber band thing. It came interesting, like, and has a ASMR feel to it. And at that time, like soap cutting was a huge hit. So what we did is like we tried many publishers that time, but with the rubber band cutting, we went to the same publisher who launched the soap cutting, Crazy Labs. And when we tested, the CPI was like really outstanding. It was like 10 cents of CPI. So that's how we scaled the game. And then it made profit. Like we expanded our game, we added more levels, and from step by step it increased. So that's how it happened.
So you guys made the game and then took it to a publisher?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
So like
it's your idea.
It's our idea. So basically, at the first, like we were doing like we ideate our ideas, and then we approach the publishers. Then we change after the rubber band hunting. We change like, okay, we are working with the publisher. Let's analyze the fans or the followers they have, and make a game related to that publishers. So that is how we approach the desert DIY. Okay. Because desert DIY is something that connects with everyone. Like it's a part of a day-to-day life. Everyone likes deserts, so that's how.
Mohan, I would like to understand two things, because we have seen a very analytical mode of selecting topics, right, from trends and stuff, and then we have a passionate mode of doing things where they did cricket and right, and we also have a service mentality where people know what they want and they actually come back and you just help them realize their idea. But then now you are scaling one idea across multiple platforms, right? Absolutely. So how did you start from that zone, and why is that scaling happening today?
Absolutely. So, of course, we need to grow, right? We need to scale. But thing is that the technology is flying like anything. Like, for example, so initially, I'm kind of 20 years of gaming industry exposure and experience. So the way the mobile industry is heading for, so it's going to be a huge transition is going to happen in the next 6 months or 1 year time from here. So, but coming back to the main point, so in terms of the ideation, I always respect and I always have value to the youngsters. So nowadays the youngsters have a lot of ideas. We used to do a lot of brainstorming sessions in our team. So we'll bring in a lot of good ideas into the picture. So and brought in a lot of small elements that is noticeable in game. For example, when we did Mr. Razor game, so can we create ASPAL kind of game in India with just under a 40 MB of file size? This is our objective, is all about. I am coming from a technical background. I do a lot of stuff very technically, bring in a lot of thoughts into it in order to make it more optimistic and reach out to a larger audience or larger platforms or more number of platforms. So that way we managed to bring in the Mr. Razor under 35 MB file. So it looks like a kind of asphalt stylish of kind of game. So it has a lot of attraction that helped us in order to get a lot of downloads from Google Play. We reached nearly 1 million downloads under 100 days time. So these kind of optimization, these kind of techniques and the user adoption and the kind of mobile devices out there in the market, so this facilitated in order to bring this 1 million downloads in 100 days time. So now in terms of transition, now it is a time to transfer these Web 2 users to Web 3 users. So because the trend is going that way, or that is the reason why we are building a more complex and high-powered games. So that is the need of the future, because way back, like 3 years or 4 years back, people used to buy like 2 GB RAM or maximum of 4 GB RAM. But nowadays people are easily going for 8 GB or 16 GB, something like that. But the target audience need that. So definitely the studios need to upskill. They have to bring in a lot of quality content into the market, so that the transition is needed and there's a lot of consumption going to happen. So this is how we see as a transition to be done, and that's what we are working for.
Oh, you got a mic. So again, right, this is all centered across the idea of things, right? Because yours is a simulator. Not many people love simulators, especially me. So I just wanted to understand, how did you take simulator and make a game out of it? And you had so many downloads, right? It's like car parking. Nobody expected it, but then a lot of people use it. So how did you come to that idea of saying, I'm going to have a train simulator?
So we didn't. So when we started, we had like a bunch of different ideas. I think we also did a couple of parking games when we started.
Oh, okay.
Then we very unexpectedly had this first hit in this game called Railroad Crossing. So since that had this train element in it, we thought, okay, let's why not explore this market a little more and see what else can be made using trains. And there was only one game in the market at that point which was a simulator, but all it had was this loop of a track, and a train kept going round and round, and it had huge downloads, right? So this was back in 2015, and those days you used to get users organically, like very easily. You just had to put out a game and people would rush in, right? And we felt, okay, we can definitely do better, and so that's how Euro Train Simulator 1 got started. We focused on the German market. We had very authentic trains. In fact, all the routes were designed by me. I had no experience in 3D modeling. I used to use Unity cubes to make the buildings and the station elements. All we got from outside was just the trains, but everything else was made inside Unity.
Okay.
So once that game was a hit, we got the confidence of trying something for the Indian market. And so it's not like that we have any particular affinity or liking towards trains. Today, yes, but back then it wasn't really the case. So it was driven by what worked in the market, and that kind of restricted, or you can say made us focus more on trains in the years to come.
So ultimately, what I'm hearing is no magic formula. What works, right?
I agree
Passion
with that.
to this, right?
Something works, you can definitely work towards that and make it work.
All right.
So I would say you need to fail more, and you need to psychologically understand what players need and what their interests are. So that is one major key, I would say.
So so I think that's where we are coming to the second round, right? Because what works, right? What is passion might also work, but at the same point of time, it is ultimately one answer, which is the user, right? That you are looking at trends, you're looking at things, and then you start with the user to scale up, right? Now, so Joshua, one interesting point that I want to bring at this particular thing is, because you're more from a service orientation, right? There's a lot of people in the global market, right? Why would somebody need to look at, let's say, you as a company in Chennai, and how is that you're keeping them very satisfied? And how do you present yourself in Outlook?
So basically it's about the pipelines, right? And a good portfolio that you already have. So if you guys have already done a portfolio, a clean 3D model, or a game prototypes that has been having clean code, right? When you give these to the potential servicing clients, right? They see that, they value that immediately. And if you have some shoddy work to present yourself with, then that pipeline is not going to go properly with you guys. So then again, they usually have a round of testing that they would probably ask you guys to do. A couple of examples they will ask you to do in the first. This also goes with the client coding projects as well. That means an entire project, an end-to-end game, right? So most of them also try out their own prototypes whether this idea would work or not, right? So, I mean, that's how you sort of like, A, you need to be quick, B, you need to adapt and learn with their pipelines. And most of the time, the AAA pipelines or even most of the studios have similar pipelines once they are already outsourcing for you guys, right? So in that way, A, speed is sort of the primary key. The second is the quality of work and understanding international pipelines. So that's the basic go-to list.
See, so when you said international, I'm going to post the user base we are always looking at and targeting is international, right? So what do you think that as a studio we should focus on in an international market?
See, I think understanding the user, that's the critical factor, right? Like now, maybe in this example also, somewhere out of a business case, he understood what is a simulator user is looking forward for, right? Out of passion, maybe Deepak clearly knows what cricket fan is looking for in this particular product. Understanding the user is the crux, right? In whatever space we are working on, whatever genre we are working on, understanding the user is everything. And also now today, I think with analytical tools, we are able to now clearly understand their user experience inside the game, which back in old days we have to observe them, see where they are laughing, see where they are actually frustrated in terms of controlling stuffs. So today, I think things made much more easier, right? So when we talk about a global market, going to the global market, this is the one product which is, if you are creating a movie, if you are creating a music, still they are somewhat very much restricted by the culture, by the kind of a language, and they are geographically restricted. But game is already proven, right? Like it can actually go beyond culture, go beyond geographical location, go beyond that. And if you just go down to any place in the world and talk about Angry Bird or talk about Talking Tom, talk about Candy Crush, people know that. People in Mexico know that. People in China know that. People in Korea know that. So people know those games, and that's it already has a power. The interactive medium already has a power to go beyond that. But providing content which can stay to that neutral level, right? That's where the crux is. So maybe that's one thing as a community we have to learn now. We are actually in the process, maybe as we are talking about this passion, right? The ideas come from our passion, and then there is definitely a process to it, right? Then that's what we are learning when we work on some services projects. This is how we are seeing like what other companies think through. How do they take idea? How do they formulate it? How do they bring it to a stage where it can be executed into a product? So we are learning those things, and we did it almost. Industry been 25 years in India. So we already did that. We went through that course. So we learned that. Now again, the other question comes in terms of perseverance. So how soon we can actually go back? That's exactly what guys commented. We need to keep practicing it until we perfect it and get our one great game out in the market.
Yeah, but because I think even for Rovio, right, Angry Birds was like the 19th or 20th game that actually gave them that break, right?
Even for Talking Tom, it was 8th or 9th game.
40th, wow. And for Talking Tom?
It was a 9th game.
9th game.
Yeah.
So typically what you are saying is first make, right? Learn, adapt. Am I right in saying that? Yes?
Yeah, on top of it, so the user feedbacks, right? So because the end of the day, they are going to play the game. So they will give a lot of constructive feedbacks to the developers. So we have to value that, because at the end of the day, they are the one that are going to play. So we have to value them. We have to take that feedback critically and make the required changes into the game. So on top of it, they will also give a lot of new feature functionality for us. So that will push our boundaries in order to expand our development cycle. So that way we can reach out a wider audience and global audience, in fact.
So one more question now comes up, right? Especially when you said wider and global audience. You have selected an IP which is, I would say, is very India-centric, right? How or what are you going to do to become more scalable? Like go out of India, maybe not Australia because we know there's a lot of cricket there, but what about the rest of it?
Right. See, we can't tag any game to say that it's very specific, especially when we are talking about cricket. And cricket itself, I'm talking about the real world cricket, itself it's getting expanded, right? I heard that there is a league like IPL is going to start in US very soon, right? So I think that part of job is being taken care by the actual
Sports
cricket.
entities.
Yeah, exactly. So what we have to do is, in fact, we have a lot of cricket games, to be honest. And our recent product, Cricket Gangsta, what we thought was like, okay, come on, like it became very competitive. There are a lot of players who are getting into cricket and doing the same thing. Let's again be different, right? So when we say that we all love cricket, and how many of you played cricket?
90%.
Exactly. So I'm pretty sure that all of these cricket players have played in streets, not in stadiums, right? So why not target these people? So let it be super casual, let them play as themselves. So that was the thought process for Cricket Gangsta. So expansion is something like, first we have to focus on the primary market, we have to reach the KPIs, and we have to make it scalable, and then start focusing on what is your secondary market, what is your, just focus on the top 5 markets initially.
To begin with.
Exactly. And once we are stable, then think about the top 10. So that was the thought process.
So
Yeah.
if you don't mind me asking, right, how is your analytics looking in terms of geographic distribution
Of
for
course,
this particular game?
Yeah. For India, of course, it's the primary market. India and all the Asian countries like Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. So these people are really passionate about cricket. You just put cricket, they will download it.
Then over.
No, it doesn't mean that it is too easy. There are a lot of pain behind it. So, and it is super competitive. And of course, I'm sitting under a Nazara banner as well, right? So, so the point is, beyond this competition, if you want to prove yourself, then that's where the thought process comes in.
Absolutely.
Right? Surviving and making successful out of this competition is the real fun. Right? So, yes.
So when you say real fun, does it relate to crunch or does it relate to having really fun?
No, it's both actually.
It's
The
both.
journey was not so easy, right? So when we launched our first cricket game in 2018, I think there was one cricket game which was in 3D, and even if that game wasn't there, I would have done a cricket game because I have played all cricket games in my childhood. The very first game, the Allen Border cricket game, which was in a floppy disk. From that game till the PS4 cricket game, I have tried everything.
Wow.
So having so passion about cricket, so I always focus on like if any game I play, being a huge fan, you will know like okay, maybe this part could have been there. So all this thought together accumulated and which was
Made
remaining
you
in my mind, which gives me a lot of ideas. And of course, like Mohan told, the brainstorming is a key. You can't take decisions just independently because you are a founder. You have to first talk to your team and make them feel that they are owning the idea, right? It's not a one-man show. It has to be a teamwork. So that is very important. Giving your vision to your team and make them believe that yes, this is going to work out. And if it is not going to work out, then why and how we can make it successful. Yep.
So that vision has to be driven together.
Definitely, yeah.
Right. So we already heard you're a very analytical person, right? CPI and stuff and coming in. So how is your game in terms of global market? Like what do you look for from audience? Because when Mohan said listen to your audience, they will give you more feature requests or something as feedback to always work on. So what do you specifically do in that zone?
So basically, what I do is we have this habit in our studio. Every day, like we look on the top 100 games in the top charts, and we play all the games, and we'll do a case study, like why the games is working, and we'll find a common factor that connects to most of the games. So we'll try to bring out. We will have that factor in mind, and we'll try to brainstorm the ideas that we have. So it varies from different countries to countries as well. So the top charts like in India would be different, in US it would be different. So we'll just like what Deepak said, we'll take the primary markets and we'll see the top charted games, and then we'll categorize, and then we'll do a case study, and then we'll progress from there. So this is what we usually do, and we'll point out like why some of the games are working well and why some of the games is not working well, and we'll find out like okay, is there any interesting factor? We can create some we have our innovation into that game that didn't work out very well, and like we can try to boost that thing. So that's how we do the research process and everything. And also the player feedbacks, like it starts once we launch the game, soft launch the game. The feedback is a very key role, not only in mobile game segment, it's also in PC and consoles. So if without a player feedback, like you would be lost, the game would be totally lost. If you get more feedbacks, and we will get an analysis like what the players really like about your game, so you can have updates regarding have updated features of what they like, and you can drive your game from there. So
Mohan, you may, so since we are all putting things together on the user feedback, what is the process that you follow to get these user feedback? Like, do you sit every day with people chatting, this is good, and or how do you put it as a format for people to?
Absolutely. So we'll get a lot of feedbacks once your game got the traction. So you cannot take everything to be granted
Exactly.
for
That's why I want to
implementing.
understand it better.
So we want to put statistics on top of it. Say for example, we got we got feedbacks like you need multiplayer feature for Mr. Razor. Okay, this is the most asked
Feature
feedback
request.
users request. Okay, we sorted in such a way that what are the features the users are requesting for. For example, we got multiplayer and then a voice chat and then a play with friends, something like that. Even a whole lot of feedbacks, but we prioritized ourselves based on the number of requests that been made by the user, and then we started our development cycle. So this is how we have to prioritize. We have to see what is the percentage of the request is all about. So based on that, if we work out, then definitely our user base will be happy and will get loyal users down the line, which will be helpful for us in order to take it to the longer run.
Yeah. So you said Germany in the discussion, right?
Yeah.
So I just want to understand why Germany, right? And the second one I also want to understand is you also brought in an Indian version later on. So I also want to understand why India. So both ways.
So Germany, because we, with whatever little research we had done back then, it showed that German locomotives was really big in Germany, and we wanted to try the Europe market. So it was not specifically Germany. We wanted to target Europe as a whole. Germany ended up being the first route that we tried, and we had no idea that it was a good gaming market, right? We didn't know that it was in the top 10 revenue-making markets in terms of mobile game revenue. So that was the reason why we picked Germany. Why we chose India was because for familiarity reason, right? Like we grew up traveling in trains, so we had a better understanding of the nuances and the details of everyday life of what it involves in terms of Indian context.
See, but at that stage, did you not think, the one that we know as a train experience, and for people in Germany, it would be different?
Yeah, but since this involves driving in the train, right? That angle doesn't factor in so much. But due to familiarity, we were able to add so much more detail for the Indian version, and that really clicked with the audience. Like they saw all those little things that we put in and appreciated that, and that is why that community kind of grew, right? So in fact, in the early days, I wasn't even aware that what I was doing was kind of community management. Like we didn't have people to do it back then. So if now we have 50,000 people across various social networks who are engaging with everything we put out, that is because something we did back then. Like we slowly grew that community, and it's very hard to expect a community forming around trains, right? I wouldn't have believed if you had told me, but people are really passionate about those things.
All right, audience, so we are done with the first round of discussions, and we want to now bring you in. Any questions? You guys, I'll just tell you the format, and then you can raise your hands. Okay, so any questions you have, just raise your hand. We are going to do 5 questions, and then come back to a few more questions that I personally have, right? And then I'm going to hand it back to you. So since you raised first, I'm going to give the mic to you. Okay, so 5 questions, and then we go back to discussion, and we'll take more questions after that, right? The last, we will get back. Just give us after him. And just in the meantime, any entrepreneur here, new studios who have actually come in today? A lot of people. Okay, we will give you preference for this round.
Hi, So actually, I have two questions. One is, how do you go about monetizing a game when, especially when it's so new to the market? And the second is to Mr. Mohan Das. You spoke about NFT and Web3, and AAA companies are already finding it difficult for themselves to monetize using NFTs and such things. So how would you go about addressing this issue and how educating the people about this new upcoming technologies?
Yeah, sure. Coming back to the first question, so monetization, as everybody knows that in-app purchase is one of the best monetization medium that you can go for, because that's the real value. Okay, people are paying for your content. Okay, the other one is of course ad monetization. So that is kind of a passive revenue, but in India it looks like ad revenue is the mainstream. Like 90 or 95% of our revenue comes through ad monetization as far as the India is concerned. So, but these are the predominant monetization methods. One is in-app purchase, the other one is ad monetization. So if you're really good, you can look for the other mediums. There are other partners and platforms out there. So where you can deploy your games, you can license your game so that you'll get other stream of revenue. There are a lot of good platforms and services available. Of course, you can reach out. So this is the answer for your first question. Sometimes even the paid version of the game works out. For example, Mr. Razor has a premium version. That works out really well for us. Okay, so...
sorry to stop you there. Can you tell us the difference between your paid version and the free offering?
Yeah, definitely. So free version is free to download, of course. That will have in-app purchase and ad being shown to the user here and there. But please don't bombard with ads. That we have to take care, because in order to acquire user, we have to take a lot of pain and we have to do a lot of spendings on top of it. If you bombard with a lot of ads, right, users will go off immediately. In a day or two, they will go off. But have a reasonable amount of duration or intervals or number of ads that you're going to show to the user. Have a certain balance so that you will retain your user. That's number one. Now, coming back to the difference between the premium and free. So in premium, so the entire app is ad free and a lot of quality content will be unlocked for free. Okay, so user will be paying upfront, for example, $3 or $5. They will be downloading this premium version of the game. So they will be treated like a king. Okay, that's how we have to treat them. Okay, you have to take a special care how you are going to position them as a premium user. That you have to take care. So that way, your premium version itself will get a lot of traction. In fact, so do a lot of experiment. I just want to share some insights that really worked out for us. See, for example, we here and there we will convert a premium version into a completely free version for 8 days time. Okay, so during that time we'll get a lot of downloads. So for example, we got 2 lakhs downloads in a day. The premium version got 2 lakhs download in a day. Okay, so that gave us a lot of search ranking and organic featuring and stuff like that. So that helped us after the 10th day when the app become paid. Okay, that day since because of ranking and gross revenue that topped the chart, we got a lot of premium purchase happened. That gave us a lot of monetization for that particular 1 or 2 months time. So that mileage you can leverage it. So that's number one. And coming back to your second question, yeah, of course, Web 3.0 is of course challenging and the big leaders are finding difficult. Okay, so this particular kind of project is all about community of your game or your platform. That's very key. On top of it, the people or the investors, so not the investors, in terms of the users who are coming to your Web3 game, you can treat them as investors, right? Because they are going to purchase your NFTs or your premium products. They have to have the confidence in the project and the founders and the founding team. So that is the key essence of the Web3. So they should, the roadmap should be clear and it should be released periodically and various checks need to be satisfied. So that is the key for the Web3 project successful to happen. Okay, so the roadmap need to be completed well and good, and then the audience or the user base need to have the confidence in the project and the development team and the founding team. That is the key element. And down the line, you have to increase your community strength So because they are going to do a lot of retrades and things to happen in your platform. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Rashmi. So I have a bootstrap company which I kind of founded as a side hustle from I work in MNC right now as a business analyst. I started as a business analyst and right now as a financial consultant. So I did not have the skills which were related to gaming. I kind of upskilled myself, and because I did not have skills which were relevant, I founded a design of a game which was in a offline basis. Like I made a board game because I couldn't make it in an app. I wanted to be like an indie developer, so I made a board game for students for learning purpose, and I made some testings with some students and all of that, and the design kind of flew up, and I put it up on Amazon and things like that. So as an MVP, basically I started as an MVP. I went to different schools. I kind of spoke to school managements and principals, conducted workshops in different schools, and I took feedback from a lot of people that how the product is going to take off and what are the responses. And surprisingly, I found out that there is a huge market for gaming products in the education sector, which is for high school. I mean, there are a lot of games and toys which are there in the primary level and in the toddler section, but none when we go into the high school level, standard 9, 10, 11th and 12th. Because as soon as we keep growing, the studies become kind of black and white. There's very less visualization. So this was one of my pain points when I was preparing for my studies, and I kind of wanted to solve that problem. But because of the lack of technical skills, I launched an offline product, which was an MVP, and that was a board game basically. And I have another product which is like a card game. And these two are based on subjects of physics, maths, and chemistry, and things like that. Now and one of these designs has also got selected for the National Action Plan for Toys by the government of India. So this has been shortlisted as of now.
Congratulations.
Thanks so much. So now at this point, I'm at a point when I'm wanting to scale this up. I know the offline channels. I mean, I went to bookstores and stationery stores and toy stores, Hamleys and stuff. They are an offline channel of monetizing. Schools are an offline channel of monetizing in bulk orders. And Amazon is a great way, which is like a D2C model. But I want to develop that same product in a digital app, like a gaming app, like the ones that we are talking about here. Now I want to form a tech team. I have a background, I have a BTech in computer science, but my majority professional experience is of a business analyst, of a project manager, of a financial analyst. To form a tech team, in a low budget, I'm not talking about a big production, I don't have a studio. In a low budget, what are the key things that I should be taking into consideration either while hiring some person, or what are the key things? And I'm not talking about a lot of hit and trials because that wastes a lot of time and money, and I get sleepless nights for that. What are the key things while forming a tech team to develop a design which is already ready, and I want to make it into a digital product? I should be taking care of, and I should keep things in my mind. From your experience, I would like to know that. Thank you so much.
Okay, so before Josh answers the question, right? I know this is the pain point for all of you, right? Skills, right? So Josh, I will ask you to focus in on from a service side of things. We'll go to the general skills at the end of it and say what we can do.
So what you're trying to basically do is what Byju's is trying to do. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's what I didn't want to go there.
I'm sorry,
I didn't want any comparisons. I just want to focus.
So education space, right? So
yeah.
Education space is sort of a big thing. Just to be honest with you, I mean, there's billions of dollars involved, and education is not going to go anywhere anytime soon. So gamification of games has been there around, and it's one of those very hard things to work with. The partners that we worked with, at least even currently we are working with some of the educational partners that we work with. Gamifying these games is one of those toughest things that you can do, because by the end of the day, the kids are bombarded with games, right? And these games have this psychological factor of releasing dopamine almost instantly and rewarding them instantly. So to put a stop to that and say 2 plus 7 is something, only when you choose the right answer you're going to get the dopamine, right? Whereas in normal games you just get it for free, and once you watch an ad you get it for free. And that's how basic human psychology works, right? To gamify this entire process is relatively difficult, and to see you figuring that out offline is actually a good thing, right? In fact, now converting that to technical part is the easiest part that you can do, honestly speaking, from my experience. So to make this into an idea, right, probably you need one technical person, a strong technical person who understands game engines. Probably would start with, it's better to start off with a free engine at this point, right? Right now the game engines are, a lot of them are already free. So try to aim for Phaser or Cocos Creator or something like that. Unity, if you can, if you're in this still in the free and you're making 100K or less, then I think you will have a much more talent base in that regard. A lot of programmers who can come and help you out. But the first thing that you need is a good programmer to begin with, because you seem to already have the ideas and design already at the go at this point. So again, the second would be probably contract artists that you can work with, and then I think you can get the ball rolling as quick as possible. I think education space is still booming, and it will boom because, believe it or not, kids are still being born and going to school, right? So yeah.
We are not slowing down.
We're not slowing down.
I just want to add few more perspective on that. So if you have time and money, maybe you can give a try with this thing. I mean, Joshua's this thing. So, but maybe you can the other way around. Maybe you can look for a strategical technical partner. Maybe you can look for someone like that, because time is money, right? So let's say if such kind of development cost you like 1 year or 2 years, you cannot able to bear it, because game development is not that easy, in fact, to be honest. Okay, so you'll have a kind of 24/7. You have to think around that. Okay, so if you have any strategical partner or tech partner, in order to bring your ideas in 3 months' time, let's say 6 months' time, so with a lot of insights and inputs on top of it, in order to make it or position it better, so that route also you can give a try. Okay.
I am in talks with a person. He's the CTO of a gaming company in Noida, Orfi. They are into also of the same space, AR and VR, but then that is like into a very toddler kind of education, Orfi, that is. So they are planning to come on board, but then it's just the point of the budget and all to drive that whole thing. So because strategically, I mean, it should not look like a college product. I want to project. I mean, I want to make it like a look at something commercial.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, there are two different approaches. Maybe you are the best guy, you are the best person to identify which route you can take. What is your go-to-market time? What is your go-to-market strategy? You have to work it out. So there are two different approaches. Maybe you can take a call wisely.
See, so to give you one more insight on that, right? Typically, if it is 1, 2 games or 3 games, right, it's better to outsource from a business point of view, because you're done with it. It's at professional standards. You go to the market soon. If it is going to be 100 games, 200 games, only at that point you need to look at internal teams who are able to do it dedicatedly. So you will balance things out, right? And like they said, there is a learning curve. Once you do your first 3 games, you understand things, and then maybe if you're doing 400, then it makes sense. So contracting it out to already existing studios who know how to do the job better is the easy part, because you've done the hard part. You already got a game ready. It is just digitization of stuff. All right, one more question from entrepreneurs. Anybody else? Friend. No, we have a lot more. 5 more.
My name is Edward. So I used to work at Rajesh for almost like 5 years, and I was a game developer for 5 years, and I used to work on mobile app development for 5 years. So almost a decade of experience I have. Mostly Mostly, I work on bridging the tech stack gaps. Okay, so right now, I'm at a point where I'm planning to go into game development again because I find the mobile app development to be very boring, to be honest. Yeah. So right now I'm working as a full-time employee. Okay. So by this year I'm planning to go develop a simple game myself. Okay. So I'm on this side where I'm a game developer, proper game developer, so I know the tech and everything. So I don't know about the other side, where marketing, publishing, business side of it. So me and my other friend who is in Germany, he is also a game developer. He used to be a game developer. So we are planning to start this quite soon, like probably this year. Mario, right? Yeah. So you said that in 2015 you started as a game developer as just two persons, right? So I would like to have some pitfalls that I have to look forward. Okay. And like, so I don't have a game idea or anything. So I'm like, I have a blank slate, right? So my heart always goes back to game development. I want to do that again.
So what worked out very well for us, like we were college buddies. So I'm the developer, like he a programmer, like he's the designer. So we had this good chemistry between us during the college days. At that moment, like we thought, we fixed, first thing what we did is we fixed like what games we want to do. So that is one thing you need to figure out. You want to do a premium game or a freemium game. You want to do your game for mobile or PC. That one you have to get a clarity on, and then you need to research more on that market. That's first thing you need to do. And for that, like you need a good designer who can strategically analyze like what are the things working on. So first it's very hard for us. First you'll be blank, I know. You'll have something in your mind that you want to create, but sometimes it won't work out for the audience. So what I would suggest you is make game for the audience instead of making games that you like. So do that one. That is a good starting point that you can have. And then you can, once you have that space, like once you have a game idea or something, like do a prototype, approach certain publishers that is close to your game, and not just like, you know, if you make some action games, for example in Crazy Labs, like they don't do many action games, they do lifestyle games. So if we approach a publisher who have lifestyle games with action games, it doesn't work out. So you have to approach your publishers very well in the right direction.
Okay, so sorry, one follow-up question. Sure. So what kind of genre would work out?
Hey, you can't ask industry secrets like that, huh?
It can, but food, I would say like food always work. Food always work. Like everyone loves food. Right? Like, it's a global market as well.
Yeah. So see, there apart from food and other things, right? We will also have to come to ground reality, right? I'm bringing everybody to ground reality. So I'm going to start with Joshua, and it goes all the way, right? We need quick answers for these set of questions, right? How do you predict in the current economic trend? Because we have always been talking about making to the world, right? And at the economic times or whatever we want to label it tomorrow, what are your predictions towards? Quick answers. Let's start from yes.
So I think the metaverse with the cryptocurrency and blockchain technology together, and the trend is clearly moving towards play to earn kind of a strategy. So that's what even we are following. I think that's going to be the future.
All right.
So I'll be honest, the economy looks pretty bad at this point. I know it's a slump, but it's going to pick up eventually.
Is this because you're more from a service angle or
no.
generally?
I mean, we make our own IPs as well,
yes.
So we know.
No, I just want to clarify that.
Yeah, exactly. So the economy is at the slump right now, but it's not going to stay there. So that means this is also the good time to start developing, because once you're done with the development, that's when the peak hits, and you'll be ready when it actually happens. So
you're having your foot on the gas, right?
Yes. I mean, you should. Everybody should at this point. Yeah.
Yes, so financially, of course, there are a lot of challenges, but to entertainment, there will be, entertainment never ends, right? So that's a hope why we are running the company, right? So, and for my, I mean, the prediction about how the industry is going to be, like, I feel that esports is something which is going to be something bigger, and we could see like a lot of traction in it, and we are building our own esports platform as well, specifically for cricket. Yep.
So that's my answer. Like multiplayers, because and one more thing is mobile market like never goes out. You will always have your mobile, so mobile market won't go out. Additionally, you can add the multiplayers into it, esports and multiplayers. Because I am not sure about like how metaverse or the NFT would turn out. It can be good, it also be bad. It might not work as well. So these are the standard things can work out. The multiplayer games combined with the stuff and with the new creative game design, it can work. So yeah, esports.
Esports.
Yeah, of course, multiplayer and other social features add on top of it. Plus, the trend is supposed to be like a lot of, as everyone knows, like AI tools. That is going to be the most trending stuff. So from here, from 6 months to 1 year, so we as a developers, we as a this thing, we have to upscale our this thing, because it's going to create a lot of a revolution. Okay, so meaning everybody need to be more efficient. So 5%, 10 members a job need to be done by 2 members. These kind of trend is going to happen. So please, I recommend everyone to here and there upskill the AI stuff. AI tools are plenty. So it's doing like crazy. Everyone knows that. So this is the trend, and of course there is a lot of crisis. So as Joshua said, so it's temporary. But it's all about making ourselves more efficient to next level is the trend. Okay, this is what.
Yeah, so I'm really optimistic about mobile, right? It's still the biggest platform, and compared to console and PC, like it's going to remain the same, like it remain really positive even in the years to come. But I think like if I talk to much younger gamers, right? They are very attracted to Roblox as a platform. I don't know how many of you have tried Roblox.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's all user-generated content, right? And since he mentioned AI, it's going to become more easier for user-generated games to be put up on places like Roblox. And somewhere you expect, like you're not very particular about quality when you know that it's coming from somebody from the community and a user, right? So I feel that is going to take off a lot, and like we should watch our back and we prepare for a lot of new people coming into gaming and using these prompts to create games, right? I think that's going to happen very soon.
That's what we do right now. We use more prompts in Midjourney to create more ideas or like look and feel. So that like if you don't adapt to the AI, like AI might take over you. So you better use the AI.
All right. So again, reminder, second question, fast round. So quick answers this way, right? Starting from Hammerplay at the back. Sorry, Highbrow. So I'm going to ask you, right? What are your 3 key challenges right now in your company?
Retaining talent, one.
Retaining talent, perfect.
I think some really strong game design talent. I think India is a country where there is, at least compared to game design, there is a lot of game development talent. But I think there is this big knowledge gap. Everybody somewhere feels like just knowing to use Unity is enough, and that can take that game to the global market. So I think if we have a lot of homegrown game design talent, that would be a good thing.
Next.
Third, can't think of anything to from me.
Yeah, as I said, so retention talent issues, and then the execution power of our members, particularly our team members. Okay, this work from home culture created a lot of this thing, lot of noise. Okay, so we have to come out of that. I have seen a lot of people still they're a bit lazy. They're not working that. Yeah, so we have to come out of that. So because it's very very painful for an entrepreneur or maybe a team leader or whoever is. Okay, so the execution power is the key that we want to concentrate on. Okay, so the job completion, so that that adds a lot of value to you in person. Okay, so these are the two challenges that I see personally.
Retaining talents with passionate, because that is what majorly missing.
You are even going for a niche crowd.
Yeah.
Passionate.
No, I'm very particular in selecting those candidates. I always want my employees to be a passionate one who's interested only in games. If we have that focus, right, like we will be able to crack out many things. So that is one thing. And secondly, like we need more analysts. Like the designers, they also need to adapt to the analytic part of the things. So many of the designers who are a game designer, like they approach the way, they have the idea or they want to do some the idea, but they forget the analyzing part. So that is one thing is missing. That two things I say. And then the third one is surviving very long.
Basic.
Yeah, that's basic. Surviving. So as much you survive, like you can learn. You just adapt to the trends and like you can have to survive very long.
Deepak.
Okay, it might be boring for you guys to again talk about the skills here. So yeah, see, it's the kind of the kind of challenge what we are facing is like we are finding the right talents. In fact, there are a lot of talents available in India, but the thing is, people are not believing in the company's values. They are just maybe they are more looking for the monetary benefits. Right?
More commercial.
More commercial. So the thing is, if you want to have a long roadmap, right, or if you want to become a CXO person in a company, so you have to start from the root. You have to believe in the company's values, and if you believe that yes, you are the right fit in the company, then the commercial should be the secondary. So maybe when we were working,
so can we say attitude towards fundamental values rather than monetary benefits?
Yeah,
that needs to be
very true. Yes, of course. Because that's a pain point we are facing.
Huge pain point.
Definitely.
Because we might be going with a vision, and then suddenly somebody puts a handbrake and say, "Sorry, I'm getting down."
Exactly. That's something which is happening, and also like people are doing A/B test with the company. So while we do A/B test with the people, and there are skills who are doing A/B test with the company, they just join in 3 months probation period. No, it's not going to work out because yeah. So this is something which is very weird because when we started company in 2015, it was just started with 2 people, and we didn't have attrition till 3 years. All two member team became 6-member team, and I started building cricket game with just 6 people. So there wasn't any attrition. But the post-COVID, I don't know, the impact is slightly different. So retaining the right talent is also a big challenge, and convincing a skilled person to join the company is also a big challenge.
We have something contradictory happening in Hammerplay, I think so. We have an amazing team so far. I mean, they seem to want to stay here for a while. But I do need to agree with finding the talent pool, right? Getting a new talent pool is, a new talent inside, we take quite a while, just like how Weloadin also does. We sort of like talk back and forth. I call up Roy and say, did you find anyone good or something like that. So once they are actually inside, and we make sure that their vision is also aligned with ours, right? And once that sort of fits, and we hardly see people actually leave the company at this point. That happens only when you take the talent inside as that. Second is training the talent. That seems to be the hardest part. Unlike we don't look for ready-made talent to just plug and play. We usually take somebody who's passionate, who shows good soft skills, and overall disciplined, right? That's the key. Once that thing is done, I think training them is relatively easy. I think in 3 months, we can convert them into a decent talent. That's why we usually go for students, and once they're in, they get the grind and they learn the best practices. And once the passion and discipline is already there, then you can keep it moving. The third is like Roy said, right? Surviving and rolling with the punches. So the industry constantly changes, the trend constantly changes. It's about how adaptive you are and you sort of like see the trend before itself and sort of prepare yourself and upscale for it?
I think India has a lot of talents. That's one of the idea why I came back and started Pixel Play back here, right? Like now we have abundant of talent. That's no question about that. But the problem what we face is like now cherry picking the right people for the culture, for the kind of vision what we have. There is definitely quite a challenge finding a right people to fit into our organization. Right, that's one part of this problem what we are facing. The second part of the problem is having this product mindset. I think as a community we are having this transition, or like we are actually expanding our space more towards product. Maybe 10 years back we were being very much known for providing services, but now there are a lot of product companies coming up, and having this product mindset is totally a different type of mindset. So getting that inculcated into our now work nature is being a biggest challenge. Establishing that inside the organization is being biggest challenge. We are in the kind of industry where, like, imagine if a Maruti car and Benz is selling for the same price, what will happen? We are exactly in the similar industry, right? Like if the products are going to get picked up because of the quality of the product, and getting an amazing quality of the product. Now we cannot create it with a lot of constraints. Like, okay, I will work for 8 hours. I won't crunch, or like, no, this is that. So putting all this constraint is not going to really make a great product. But once the great product has been done, whatever we can wish for, everything can just happen, right? I've practically seen handling Talking Tom 2, which is like 10-12-year-old IP. It's keep pumping in $6-7 million every month into the company's bank. Same for Gameloft, right? Like Asphalt 8, again 12-13 years old IP. They just keep, Gameloft itself is surviving by making Asphalt 7, 8, 9, 10. I think, I don't know to what extent they will go, but yeah. So IP like that, once it's been established, I think whatever we can wish for in the career path, in terms of our social structure, in terms of like the kind of recognition what we get from the community, and like in terms of financial status where we can put ourselves, it's all changed. So it's a chicken egg situation. Who is willing to commit will definitely reach there, but who is trying to put themselves, I think the companies, we are really confused. Sometimes even I'm getting confused. Because I came with a vision of now setting up a culture where we can actually create great IPs, but actually setting that up with certain constraints is like it's creating a lot of challenge. Like now we said, okay, we don't want to hire any managers inside the organization. I just not believe no one needs to be managed, because just allow them to explore their own potential. But sometimes like the kind of practical challenges we face, like getting a self-doubt, whether this is a wrong culture to establish in India. Maybe I can do that back in Europe, but not here. So this kind of challenges is something we are fighting and trying to come out with. But definitely there's a lot of hope. There's a lot of companies established very well. So looking forward for company to come up with one game like an Angry Bird, so that the whole world turns back and look at India, says, okay, no, you guys are not only to provide service, you can also create a product. And we want to be that guy, and we will be happy to be there if we can make it.
Perfect. All right, on that note, we are going to close the session. Now, for all the few who have questions, please use the lunchtime to connect with them individually, get more mentorships done from all these successful studios here. Thank you so much for being a patient audience. See you guys on the lunch floor.